No authority in the country can penalize somebody for coming to the court. What is Article 32 for? How dare the officers say all this? This is in the teeth of Article 32. 32 itself is a fundamental right. There is no doubt that if a citizen of India is deterred in any way from moving the court in exercise of his right under Article 32, it would amount to serious interference in the administration of justice in the country. We are not on the merits of the case. Why can't you go to the High Court? We are trying to discourage Article 32 petitions. You just heard and read the Chief Justice of India pronouncing in observations on Article 32 in two different cases. Interestingly, in the first case in which the Chief Justice was defending Article 32 religiously is the case of our very own Mr. Arnab Goswami. And the second case in which the Chief Justice talked about discouraging Article 32 petitions belongs to that of journalist Siddiqui Kapan. The question is, why does our Chief Justice want to discourage petitions under an article which he so strongly defended in a previous case? And why is the country going bonkers about this Article 32? What is Article 32 and what makes this particular article so precious and so to be defended? My name is Ishan Fauzdar and you are watching The Upfront. Let's start from the heart of the issue. What is Article 32? Well, in very simple terms, Article 32 is a fundamental right which is the Chaukidar, yes, same Modi ji's Chaukidar, is the Chaukidar of all other fundamental rights. Let's start at the roots. Whenever or if ever you file a case in the lowermost court, the district court, which then travels up to the High Court and then to the Supreme Court. This hierarchy might work for our explanation, but you need to realize and you need to understand that the network of courts in India is not that simple. Lower courts are divided into criminal courts and civil courts, and all cases do not travel up the hierarchy. There are only certain cases which can go up to the Supreme Court after getting a certificate from the High Court. So there are many complications, but for our example, we'll take the linear hierarchy: district court, High Court, Supreme Court. So you first go to the district court, then to the High, and then to the Supreme. But in some special cases, you can directly go to the Supreme Court. You can directly file a case in the Supreme Court, or as we say in the language of law, move the Supreme Court. You can directly move the Supreme Court. These cases come under Article 32 of the Constitution, or Article 32 of our Constitution gives us the right to move the Supreme Court directly in some cases. These some cases are cases in which our fundamental rights have been violated. Fundamental rights are in the part 3 of our Constitution, and if at any time your or mine any fundamental right is violated, we can directly knock at Supreme Court's doors via Article 32. So now you might understand why Article 32 is called the right to constitutional remedies. Whenever your fundamental right is violated, you go for a remedy directly to the Supreme Court via Article 32. So remedies. One more thing to know about Article 32 is the concept of prerogative writs. Writs in very simple terms were divine orders which even the kings could not ignore, and even today, if passed by courts, no authority in the country, not even the Prime Minister, can ignore. Petitions filed under Article 32 are called writ petitions. Now writs are of many kinds, but our constitution lays down 6 of them: habeas corpus, mandamus, certiorari, quo warranto, and prohibition. I do not have the liberty to explain all the writs here, but I will explain the habeas corpus writ, as this was the writ under which the entire proceeding of Arnab Goswami took place. So when you file a petition, a writ petition under Article 32, you are essentially telling the Supreme Court to order or to issue a particular writ, a particular order to protect your fundamental right. So now you know why Article 32 is so important and why the country is going bonkers about our CJI statement of the discouragement of Article 32 petitions. The Supreme Court is being called out for doing selective justice. In a brilliant article for the Indian Express, Mr. P.B. Mehta describes how the Supreme Court is slowly slipping into what we call judicial barbarism. I'll put the link to the article in the description. Please do read. It's a brilliant article. This backlash which the Supreme Court is facing is also in conjunction with the observations made by our CJI on Article 32 in the Arnab Goswami case. When Arnab Goswami was denied bail from the Bombay High Court, he filed a habeas corpus petition. So what is a habeas corpus petition? Now habeas corpus is a Latin term which directly translates to bring the body. Habeas corpus petitions are used in cases in which people have been illegally detained by anyone, any authority. So let's say you have been illegally detained by the police. You then file a habeas corpus petition to the Supreme Court of India, telling the Supreme Court that you have been detained illegally and that you are requesting the Supreme Court to order to the police to produce you in the Supreme Court and check if your detainment is legal or illegal. Then the Supreme Court will order the police to bring the body, that is bring you to the Supreme Court, and then will check if your detainment is legal or illegal. This is what the habeas corpus petition does. When Goswami was threatened against putting an habeas corpus plea, the Chief Justice of India made the following remarks protecting Article 32, which is quite right. He did the absolute right thing there. Article 32 should be protected because it is like an emergency door for the citizens of India. However, on the same note, when journalist Siddiqui Kappan was charged under UAPA by the UP government simply for going to Hathras, and when he made a habeas corpus plea, the CJI observed that why can't the plea first go to the High Court and then to the Supreme Court, and that they are trying to discourage Article 32 petitions. So there is a clear duality in the two observations, clear hypocrisy which can be observed here. And anyway, talking about UAPA is it's a very draconian law which we have made an entire episode on. I'll put the link in the description. Please do watch that video to understand what is UAPA and how draconian it is. According to me and many legal experts, the duality, the hypocrisy in the two observations of Article 32 made by our Chief Justice is completely unreasonable, unjust and unfair. This kind of selective treatment is not expected from the senior most judge of the highest judicial body of the country. And Kappan is not alone. Sudha Bharadwaj, Varavara Rao and the mountain of habeas corpus petitions from Jammu and Kashmir during the Article 370 dilution had been simply sidelined and ignored by the Supreme Court. Giving Arnab bail, anticipatory bail, was absolutely correct. But not even hearing or saying that we are discouraging Article 32 petitions in other cases is not justified in any way. But what could be the actual reason for the Supreme Court to be discouraging Article 32 petitions? And if Supreme Court discouraged all Article 32 petitions, will it be fair? $63,693. This is the number of cases pending in just the Supreme Court of our country. And let's not go to the High Court and the lower courts, or else we'll talk in millions and crores. This huge backlash of cases is given as a justification for the Supreme Court to be discouraging Article 32 petitions. But this is not the solution. Understand it this way. When you have fever, you understand that fever is a symptom and not a disease. If you go on taking medicines to cure the fever might go away for now, but it will come back later because the disease is still there. So you need to take medicines to treat the core disease. The Supreme Court, in discouraging Article 32 petitions, is trying to cure the fever of backlogs. But in doing so, it is ignoring the main core disease, which is the lack of judicial workforce in India.
Speeches have been made in the past. People have spoken from this audience, this dais, in conferences, in seminars, debates in the parliament, and all. But I think nothing really appears to be moving. The central government says, yes, we commit ourselves, but it is the state government's responsibility. The state governments say, no, let the central government provide funds to us, assistance to us. And while this tug of war goes on, the judge strength remains where it is. 38 lakh cases remain where they are. 3 crore cases in the subordinate courts continue to wait.
Yes, this was our former Chief Justice, Justice T.S. Thakur, who broke down before in a conference at the condition of Indian judiciary in 2016. And he is not crying for nothing. See the numbers for yourself. India has 19 judges per 10 lakh people. The subordinate courts have a shortage of 5,748 judicial officers. The 24 high courts face 406 vacancies. In the case of the high courts, the approved strength is 179. The actual strength now is 673. The total number of vacancies in the Supreme Court, High Court and the lower courts come to 6,160 judges. This huge inadequacy and lack in the judicial workforce of our country is the main disease, is the cause of such huge backlog of cases, and it is not the duty of the Supreme Court to fill vacancies. It is the duty of the government of the date and the Law Commission to fill these vacancies, but the government is not doing so. So now you would understand that in any case, discouraging Article 32 petitions is not a solution to this problem. Yes, India has a mountain of backlog cases, but in no condition can the courts look away from the duty which has been bestowed upon them by the Constitution. The Constitution clearly lays down that a citizen has the right to directly knock at the Supreme Court's doors in case of contravention of his fundamental rights, and by discouraging Article 32 petition, the Supreme Court at some level or the other is disrespecting the very Constitution. The only solution to this backlog problem of India is government intervention. As Justice Thakur said in 2016, all the burden cannot be shifted to the judiciary. The government needs to look into this grave issue which is haunting our judiciary. The Law Commission knew about this problem since 1987, but nothing has been done. Consecutive governments kept ignoring the Law Commission's recommendations and the cases kept piling up. As much as I hold the Supreme Court of our country and the Chief Justice of India accountable for their selective treatment of some cases and the remarks on discouragement of Article 32 petitions, the government shares equal or even more blame for ignoring the problem of our tireless judges. You see, it is very easy to criticize and to poke holes, but it is fairly difficult to suggest solutions, to suggest amends, and people seldom take the difficult route. I have huge respect for the judiciary of our country and the Supreme Court, and this respect which I have drives me to suggest solutions, to suggest amends for the problems faced by the judiciary of our country. If you like the work that we are doing, please do like this video and our other videos. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, press the bell icon to get regular updates on whenever we upload a new video. Thank you so much.